boys and girls, men and women, ladies and gentlemen, talk to your kids every day. Listen to your kids. Be involved in a healthy fashion in their life. But more importantly than that, pray with your kids. More important than even that, pray for your kids. And then while we're at it, pray for everyone else's kids too. Not just here in the States, but worldwide, because they need it. So for me, the Jared Fogle story is a jumping off point to look at the reality of what our culture and what our inaction is doing to the next generation. Planned Parenthood had yet the 7th video released about their activities, and they have been in so much limelight because of these videos. It's been a good thing, because I have had conversations with people who have always been pro-choice, as they like to put it, almost militantly so, who have seen these videos and it's resonated in their heart, and it has softened them up to the idea that maybe Planned Parenthood needs to be shut down. And that's a first step. That's a first step towards getting them to admit that, okay, well, maybe I'm not trying to push too hard, too fast. But I have heard one individual in particular, that has always been militant. Yes, abortion all the time, on demand, everybody's right, blah, blah, blah. She watched this and she came to me and she very timidly said to me that, you know what, Tim, I think maybe I was wrong. It's easy to sit back and talk about a woman's right to control what happens to her body and a matter of personal privacy when you don't see the horrific things that are going on. The big headlines that have come from this 7th video release is people are talking about the fact that in this one particular instant, a fetus was removed whole, and that you could still see the heart beating just before it died. And then they cut into the face of this fetus to retrieve brain tissue. And this is just another day at the office for these people. They are horrific eugenicist monsters. They don't even deserve to be called people or human, because human beings don't do that. Only monsters. They still get plenty of private funding. They do not need, nor do they deserve, government funding. And I'll go beyond that. The minute they got into the abortion business, they should have been denied any further funds from the government, because, again, one of the hardest points I've ever had trying to get people to understand, the United States government has $0 of its own. It's giving away money that it has taken from citizens. And the overwhelming majority of citizens in this country have a moral objection to abortion in general. And under no circumstance should money taken from me or any other person that feels the same way ever be used to pay for something that we morally object to. We have a right of conscience, and we have a right to express our religious views. Life begins at conception. Even the argument of controlling your own body. A woman has a right to control her own body. Yes, she does. But once she has a baby growing inside her, that baby is not her body. It's just in there. Her control should have been in the effort to prevent the pregnancy in the first place if she's not ready for a baby. Oh, but heaven forbid that we should talk about morals. Heaven forbid that we should talk about the fact that there are reasons why you got pregnant and you made mistakes. And we can talk about incest. We can talk about rape. Okay, that is a different set of circumstances. And maybe there should be a different set of rules involved there. I don't have all the answers. I don't pretend to. And I'm not insensitive to situations, but abortion on demand for the simple purpose of birth control is abhorrent, immoral, it is wrong. You are murdering a child at its most innocent, at its most helpless. Period. End of that discussion. Now I want to go ahead and switch gears. I'm going to take a little break, though, so I can get the sour taste and the anger out of my system. And we'll come back and we're going to talk a little bit about birthright citizenship. So, if you'll indulge me, stay with me, and I'll be right back. Hey guys, this is Tim Tapp, and I just want to ask you to please check out tappintothetruth.com. TAPP intothetruth.com. While you're at it, check out the show's Facebook page and our Twitter account. Please feel free to like the Facebook page, to follow us on Twitter, and to see exactly what's going on when you're tapping into the truth. After all, you do have to expect to put in a little effort, and I do ask you to use your brain. But in the end, it's what's best for you. Don't take my word for it. Tap into the truth. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Thanks for staying with me through the break. With you as always, this is Tim Tapp, and this is Tap Into the Truth. Gotta tell you, This birthright citizenship issue is really taking front and center. And I definitely want to have a conversation about it. And not just because Donald Trump has brought it up, but because actually we've talked about it on this show before. In fact, we've had an episode here at Spreaker, and I've talked about it at length on the Sunday show at BTR. And I've been saying for some time that when you actually read the 14th Amendment, it's pretty obvious, pretty clear that the whole anchor baby phenomenon, although I shouldn't say that, just now, according to certain reporters at ABC News, that's offensive. I'm offended by reporters using the word offensive in regards to phrases that aren't offensive. Okay, so I'm really offended right now by ABC News. Who knew? Ultimately, here's the deal. In case, for some reason, you're not aware of what's going on, part of Donald Trump's immigration plan that he released this past week involves ending birthright citizenship. The United States is one of just a few countries nationwide, and there's a link to this information on the Tap Into the Truth Facebook page if you're interested. But we're one of the few countries that actually offer birthright citizenship. Normally, there's more involved than just being born here to make you a citizen. For most other countries. But the excuse that's always been used is the 14th Amendment, because they want you to believe that there is a constitutional definition of what is a natural-born citizen. The fact that there seems to be confusion over this is mind-boggling, because when you read it, there's only a little bit of room for interpretation at all. And ultimately, if you want to get the truth of what's going on with something like that, well, what you do is you look back at the author and what they tell you was the intent. Now, for those of you who aren't aware of the 14th Amendment very much, you need a little history background, although probably more people know more about the 14th Amendment now because of this conversation than ever before. But then there's probably still a ton of people that aren't paying any attention. So here's the background in case you need it. Because I learned a long time ago to stop assuming that everybody knows everything that I do. Truthfully, most of the people that listen to this show, I believe, probably already know this. But I know that there are also always new listeners, and maybe some of you don't. So here goes. 14th Amendment essentially was designed as one of the post-Reconstruction amendments. It was designed to help reunify the South into the Union. But the idea was, in this particular case, to prevent Southern states from treating former slaves as less than citizens. So they decided to define what citizenship is. Now, the 14th Amendment actually has 5 different sections, but only the first 2 sections apply to this argument at all. In fact, for the most part, it's just the first section. And the long and the short of it is, it's any person born in the United States of people who are under the jurisdiction of the United States are natural-born citizens. And then it also goes on to say that they are entitled to equal protection under the law. That's where the concept of equal protection comes from. Now, I'm paraphrasing, because I'm not reading it here. if you want to know more, what I really recommend you do is actually look it up for yourself. Guess what? If you're listening to this show, chances are you're online.